fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
All right, welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight we got the RGR Racing League with the Alive Church Xfinity Series. And Alive Church, live fully alive. I'm Dean Doucette. He's Jared Carr. Jared, you're living fully alive, aren't you?
Hey, we're getting there, aren't we, Dean? We got a big race here tonight, a big field here of 35 cars at Las Vegas. I mean, this is going to be a good, entertaining race. This is always one of the better races that you watch that are on iRacing nowadays. But this is a cool track, Dean. I think it's going to be interesting to see how these guys move around and try to figure out a way to pass here.
Yeah, it really is. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be super interesting. The car is really slick. It's a little different here. I mean, lately the fixed setups, they're getting loose, Jared. So we're going to see guys fight loose cars here tonight. Should be entertaining.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, this track it lends itself to already kind of being a little bit loose because of the way the car, the loads are at this track. This is a heavy load track here tonight, Dean. And I think you're going to really have to manage where you run. I'll be interested to see. I remember, I guess it was about, 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago when the Xfinity Series was there in the daytime. Watched a bunch of fixed races. And, Dean, there was a lot of guys moving around. It'd be interesting to see if they move around here tonight.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested to see. Word is you won't see too much high in 1 and 2 because of the bumps. And maybe you talk a little bit about that, Jared. The car is very bouncy, right? The springs are locked in. You can see the front end bouncing through the corners.
Yeah, and so this car, if you look down in turn 1, there's, and even in turn 3 and 4, there are these 2 blocks of white, 2 white blocks that kind of are, they're markers on the track that were from a bygone era, basically. But anyway, the track is very smooth between those blocks all the way through 1 and 2. If you go above it, there's some bumps, and if you go below it, there's a lot of bumps. I mean, it is very, very bumpy down there on the white line, and it can really unsettle the car if you're not using the inputs the way it needs to be used down there, and it could cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We just hopped on board here with Graham Connolly, and we could going through 1 here on the bottom, and bottom looks okay. So it's going to be interesting to see anyway as this goes along. Guys almost getting ready. Of course, last week was the first race here of this Alive Church Xfinity Series, and it was Lance Buckshot Ripka getting down into victory lane. Jared, I can't say I'm really that surprised. Are you?
No, Lance was very good here last year when we raced. I mean, we raced there a few times, and I think he won both races, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not really surprising to see him do that.
No, great, talented racer. And we got another guy out here who's got some talent. Someone we don't get a chance to talk about as a race car driver.
Oh, here we go.
But it's Baron Labosco's out here tonight. How about that, Jared?
Hey, I think that these cats in this league don't even know what to expect because Baron Labosco, Dean remembers, I remember, there's a few guys in this race that know. Baron Labosco was the dude in the Xfinity car. Like, he was the guy to beat in several leagues that myself and Dean and a couple other people in this race have participated in. It'll be interesting to see how he does. I know he doesn't race as much as he used to back when he was the guy. But he's starting from the back of the field. It's going to be at least entertaining to watch, right, Dean?
Well, it is. I mean, of course, we're hoping for him. Baron, to be fair to Baron, he is years removed from racing, at all, basically. I mean, he barely gets in the cars anymore. So he's excited. We're excited to see him. But we're excited for this whole league. I mean, we got a great grid. Let's get right into it here. And we can see up front someone who doesn't mind a loose race car. That's Bernard Persson running the Hardee's machine there tonight with a time of 30.765. On the outside of row 1, it's Bryce Reiner. TJ Rogers and Claus Williams in row 2. It's Leal and Ripka in row 3. Beller and McMillan in row 4. Ratliff and Maurer in row 5. Bartel and Jackson round out the top 12.
Yeah, you look back through the rest of this field. I mean, we got some heavy hitters back here in row 7, James Hebert and Darren Bruce. We got Tony Ratliff and Zach Hartwick back there in row 8. Row 9, we got Todd, the Towman Gilly, and Derek Whitford, who came on strong at the end of last season. Row 10, we got Jason Spear and Fred Lester. And we look through the rest of the field, we got Edward Kane, Rachel Hunt back here. We got Graham Connolly and Jason Martin in 27th, the last guy to take a time. Not taking time, we got Brian Helm, Ricky Williams, Baron Labosco, Michael Fleming, Paul K. Travis, Eric Whiting, George Racone, and George Divil starting shotgun on the field tonight, Dean, as we're rolling off turn number 3.
Yes, sir. Ready to go racing here in the Las Vegas 185. It's the Alive Church Xfinity Series here with RGR Racing. Pace car off the track. They're all ready to get rolling. Green flag drops. Person with a little wiggle, a couple of them even, and we've seen that here with these tires, a little loose. You got to watch getting the power down.
Otherwise, clean start into turn number 1. Top 2 string out. They're going to go ahead and get through there pretty easily. A little bit of a checkup around Jason Williams or Jason Jackson back there in the mid-pack. Tyke off the corner. Lance Ripka may have gotten the wall in the backstretch.
Oh, no, Ripka with a little problem back there. Looks like he's all right. TJ Rogers and Bryce Reiner battling for second. It's going to be Reiner back where he started. Leal right in the mix. Williams and Beller. There's Greg Ratliff. And again, you see Lance Ripke. He's riding that high side. And he's, we've seen it work in those Gen 6 cars that we raced on Thursday. Will it work here tonight, Jared?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, he's getting in there a little bit deep. Oh my goodness, almost some contact there with Greg Ratliff and the
McMillan.
red car below. Yeah, McMillan. Yeah, I couldn't tell the number from. I'm up here in the sky, the bleeds tonight, Dean. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the smash burger machine of Mike McMillan. He likes a loose race car. He's happy to be here tonight and try this thing out. Right behind him, Ripka, they got Bartel in there. Nate Maurer makes his return. How about that? We know what Nate can do.
Absolutely. Very talented driver. Nearly got his first win last year, and I'm sure he's itching to get one this year. But right now, top 3 have kind of separated themselves out, Dean. I mean, George Leal is kind of starting to pull away too, but that's what's happened when you get in a little bit of clean air. You're going to start to see these cars start separating more and more as you see Rachel Hunt, or no, that's not Rachel Hunt, that's the 21 machine well up the track in 1 and 2. Edward Kane.
Oh, Kane, Edward Kane, one of our loyal racers and sponsors there, and I've seen a few people brush the wall. I've seen a few people get a little loose here. These cars are a little temperamental. They'll settle down a little bit as they get themselves some space. Bernard Person just laid down his best lap, I think the best lap, so he's absolutely flying, Jared.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job, and that's kind of what we expect out of Bernard. But, you know, the thing we saw last year, Dean, is Bernard would get in there, run these good laps, get up to the front, and then the car just didn't seem to agree with him. So I wonder, you know, what his strategy is going through this year's. Rogers, very loose off turn 4. We are starting to see some guys get loose. But, Dean, I'm loving this mid-pack battle. Everybody's starting to battle really hard, watching TJ Bartel and Nathan Maurer go at it right now.
Yeah, Bartel low, Maurer high. You see the run that's developing through the center of the track. So it is a lot like the other car. The only difference, Jared, those Gen 6 cars have a ton of suck up on them. You're not seeing that out of the Xfinity car.
Yeah, there's almost no suck up in these cars. The draft at mile and a half or whatever tracks is very non-existent, and the thing is that really enhances that clean air effect, and you're seeing that. The top 3 are gone, Dean. I mean, the top 3 are gone.
They're gone.
And it's really down to everybody else trying to figure out how to get out of this dirty air at this point.
Well, that's the great difference. I mean, I don't want to keep bringing up Gen 6 all night, but they pack race a lot, and there's a lot of suck up. So you see 5 guys get away, and then another 5 catch them 10, 20 laps later. You won't see that here tonight. I mean, maybe with tire wear and that, a few guys can do it, but the car not built for it. So this is a massive lead that Person's opening up here.
Yeah, it is. Him, Reiner, and Rogers well out in front. Battle back here. Ripka and Beller going on here, Dean. That's a battle somewhere in the top 10. They're 8th place, and Beller really loose entering turn 3. Stacks up Darren Bruce and Mike McMillan a little bit.
Yeah, well, they're going at it. Also, battle for second. TJ Rogers. You know, he was one of the founding guys over here. Hasn't been racing for a while. He was back. He is back now. So TJ Rogers looking good, battling someone who's always tough, Bryce Reiner.
Yeah, and Bryce has done an amazing job as of late, right? I mean, he came in late last year and put together some good runs. Looked like he was going to get a win with that mistake of I'm remiss to remember, going down pit road like Mark Martin and giving the race away, but they ended up getting that corrected. But Reiner, you know, he's had some strong runs. I wouldn't be surprised to see him up there. But TJ Rogers, I mean, I haven't had a lot of experience with him, but he is out here racing pretty hard. But, man, those top 3, Dean, they are putting down great lap times, and that's the difference in this race right now.
I mean, I almost can't believe the gap they are opening up. Incredible stuff. Look a little further back. You got Greg Ratliff and Lance Ripka, 2 stalwarts in the league going at it. Ripka looking strong on the bottom. He powers on through. Another guy right there, Darren Bruce in the picture. He's up 6 spots, Jared.
Yeah, he is. Darren Bruce doing such a good job already. And I'll tell you another guy that's moving up, Edward Kane, 5 spots up now there on him as well. And
one other big move. Well, there's a few, but we'll get to that Labosco kid in a minute.
Yeah, he's up 5.
He's fell a little bit here, so I think he had a little incident or something. He was up 6, now up 1. Something going on. Dibbles up 8 here in 27th. Paul K. Travis up 7. He's in 25th. We got some movers for sure.
Barron, you know, as a paint scheme guy, Dean, he is running that throwback Cale Yarbrough paint from the 1980s there on that machine. In case,
yeah, let's have a quick look in on that. The old Hardee's machine there. I like it. So you got the old Hardee's machine here. You got a different Hardee's machine up front. Which one is that, Jared?
Up front, let's take a look here.
Oh, sorry, Jared might not be able to see it. I'm not sure. The old yellow,
the
yellow
18
and blue
machine.
there.
Yeah, you got the yellow and blue, 18.
Beautiful looking car. So a couple of Hardee's machines out here tonight. It's Person, Reiner, Rogers, Leal, Ripka now in 5th. Bruce right there. He's up 8 spots now into 6, getting around Greg Ratliff. Mike McMillan continuing in 8th position, right where he started. And then there's Claus Williams. Not suiting him. He's down 5 spots here, Jared.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised because he was up there in the top 5, but he kind of hasn't been able to put down the lap times as of late. But, you know, Dean, you know how these races kind of ebb and flow. So I think that, you know, he's trying to maybe fill this thing out a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's some saving going on. So, you know, pit strategy, a little early to talk that, but I always like to get it set on the fuel numbers somewhere around that, you know, 55 range, Jared. Probably could be stretched to 57, 58. But I think 2 stops is necessary here tonight.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely think so too, Dean. I can't imagine doing anything more than that.
Meanwhile, up front, Person, as we've seen this before, you alluded to it, Jared. He's starting to fade just a little bit here as Reiner's starting to run him down. Rogers trying to hang on with him.
Yeah, and I was looking at a couple things that happened. Jacob Musial got in the wall and George Racon got in the back of him. That was on lap 7. And we were talking about Baron Labosco being up 6 positions. I went back and looked. He just got up on the high side, Dean. Just looked like he didn't have enough grip up there, and ended up losing some spots in the process of that.
All right, 10-4. Our big mover, George Dibble, bringing the McDonald's home. He is now up 10 spots into 25th. But up front, we got to go up there because it's starting to heat up. Actually, maybe from a distance they look a little closer than they do when you zoom in on them, Jared. But they're slowly coming here.
Yeah, I mean Bernard Persson leading that race right now, but
Did you let a little Russ Wheeler sneak in there?
It's the car, bud.
I mean, last week on Thursday we had the fastest chicken in the South on the track, so anything's possible out here.
We got all kinds. You never know what you're going to see on Wind Tunnel TV, folks. You just don't know. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough.
You never do know. Very unpredictable, as is the racing. We say it each and every week, Jared. I mean, I can count on one hand over 2 years how many races were, walkaways. These things always come down to the end.
Absolutely, and it's all going to be about the pit stop, right? But that top 4, man, I just cannot believe how far out they are compared to everybody else. Ripka's trying to get himself separated from the pack, but Darren Bruce really battling hard with him. Or actually, but Darren Bruce trying to get right Ripka. I apologize.
Yeah, he's got that high line. I think at this stage it'll probably prevail, but Ripka really good on the bottom. And the difference, again, there's just the straightaway speed isn't there like there is in other cars. So the Xfinity is not going to get that big momentum run.
No, absolutely not, Dean. I think that's something we'll have to watch as this race goes on, right? Is how much is this going to play a factor as this race continues on?
So Ripka does complete the pass on the bottom, of course, because I said the high might prevail. That's just the way it goes around here.
Ratliff, good run off turn number 2. He's going to get right down there up to the back end of Bruce, but he's not going to be able to make the move, I don't think. Yeah, he is. He's going to slide in there. A little bit late. I think Bruce was expecting it.
Yeah, Bruce looks like he's content up there. Woo.
Man, that's
a little
tight.
Close there. And a little loose off the corner was Bruce. That's going to put Ratliff through. Here comes Mike McMillan.
Somebody very loose and still out of shape. Is that, I apologize, I'm trying to get the number on that machine. That's the, that might have been Jason Martin. He was completely sideways off the corner, Dean, off turn number 4. And lucky he didn't rake that. No, it wasn't Jason Martin. It was Tony Ratliff.
All right, Tony Ratliff back there. Let's take a little look further back here. We got A. Bear in 14th, Whitford in 15th, Kane. There's Tony Ratliff now in 17th. Here comes Jason Martin. He's going to come underneath of Tony. And it looks like he's going to drive right through there pretty easily.
He lets him go off the corner. They definitely let off. That's just good sportsmanship, right? I mean, Jason's up 9 spots now. I mean, he's definitely moving through the field at a quicker pace. And, Ratliff moving a little backwards now.
Yeah, behind him. Oh, that's Hartwick. Hartwick loses it a little bit. Here comes the Toad Man, Todd Gilly. Gilly on the high side. He's got Jason Spear with them. There's Paul K. Travis. So they're going to look to try and freight train Hartwick here.
Yeah, Hartwick got loose, and also Nathan Maurer got loose too, Dean. He got really loose off turn 4. Turn 4 is becoming Calamity Corner. If we're going to have a wreck tonight, that's where it's going to be at.
We check in on the number 99.
Corey
Buskirk is out here tonight, so welcome to Corey. Looking good there, a nice white car. That's Dubby. I'm not sure what that's about, that sponsor there, but I'm sure people out there know. Let us know if you know that sponsor. There's Fred Lester right behind him, so that's back in 24th. Helm back here with Fleming, and there is Labosco. He is up 3 now in 27th. Let's go back up front. Person now doing a great job. I mean, I thought they were going to catch him. They didn't. Reiner pretty much pacing him at this point. The lead about 0.6 of a second, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, this lead's kind of stagnated, right? It's been 0.6, 0.5 for probably the better half of 40 laps. The one thing I will say is that George Leal is starting to catch up to TJ Rogers there at the end, and Buckshot Ripka is also doing pretty well as well with lap times. If you look at those lap times across the line, Ripka at a 5.2, Person's running a 6.2, Reiner's run a 5.6, TJ Rogers a 6.8, Leal a 5.7. So very tight up there, but you can definitely tell that TJ Rogers starting to slow up a little bit. Person maybe even under pressure here soon too.
Yeah, there's a gaggle of cars coming. I mean, I shouldn't say a gaggle. It's not an official gaggle. But if we look through 4th through 8th, you know, or roughly that 4th through 7th right now, those are all long-run drivers, right? As are a large majority of the guys. But these guys are very adept at it. You got Leal, Ripko, Ratliff, and McMillan. Those guys are only going to do better from here until pit time.
Yeah, you kind of look down the list. I mean, all those guys you mentioned, actually everybody up until 12th position, except for a couple guys, and they're all running in the 5s. And we had Reiner that ran a 7, McMillan that ran a 7, but everybody else in the 5s that last time by. We'll see what it is across the line.
And you highlighted, so I'm going to call you out on this one. Everybody up to 12. So 12 is Jason Jackson. He actually won here on Thursday night, Jared.
Well, there you go. I mean, he's moved up through the field, or he had been moving up through the field. He looks like he's dropped back a little bit again, but has had a solid car throughout this race.
Yeah, big mover, Jason Martin, now up to 15th. He's up 12 spots. Looks like he's got that thing rotating nicely through the corners, stable on exit. He's holding it together pretty good here.
I'll tell you another guy moving up too is Paul K. Travis. He's up 11 spots. He's chasing down Jason Spear. Jason I don't think having maybe the best race he's wanted here tonight, Dean, but Paul K. started 32nd and he's up to 21st.
Yeah, got that real tree paint on there. Looking good. Oh, and someone, he just went by there.
Yeah, Jason Brantley just coming back on the track. He lost connection a few laps ago.
That is so unfortunate. Whoa, when Dibble has to avoid him. What an evasive maneuver by George Dibble. Holy smokes.
Yeah, Dibble I don't think was expecting. Brantley's trying to get out of the way. But sometimes it's just best to kind of merge in and keep the throttle down, and that way you're not, causing a checkup like that. But good job by everybody to get around him.
Absolutely. So lap 30 of 125. Bryce Reiner has now caught up, or close to, Bernard Person. The lead cut in half, down to 3/10.
Yeah, Bernie running 8s. 8-9, actually, or 8-8 right now. Reiner a 7-8, Rogers a 7-7, Leal a 7-5, Ripka a 6-8, and then you have McMillan at 32-8, and then everybody starting to get into 33s back further through there. Ratliff with the bad lap at 33 flat.
Bruce starting to come along as well. Battle a little further back. You got Helm and Hartwick, it looks like. Or no, that's Buskirk, the newcomer. Oh, and right in front of them, someone's loose. That's a Toad, man. He comes back up. Evasive maneuvers by the newcomer, Buskirk. Great job there, avoiding stuff again. And we love to see this. I mean, that's what drivers have to do, Jared.
Yeah, and that's the same thing that when that was happening, TJ Bartel got loose off turn 4. Turn 4, Dean, Calamity, that's where the issue's going to be tonight. I mean, we are seeing so many guys getting loose off that corner here tonight, Dean, and good drivers. All of them. Bartel loose again there.
I warned people for years, Jared, do not go near Calamity Jane. Claus Williams battling with TJ Bartel behind him. Jackson and Maurer going at it. Lap 33 of 125 in the Vegas 185. That's 185 miles. And I think that's a rough estimate there, Jared.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 125 would be 200. I think it should be 200 miles, right?
Not quite. Nonetheless, as we struggle to do math, we've been out of school for a while, haven't we, Jared?
Yeah, it's been a while. Been a little while.
And I speak for myself. I don't want to throw you under the bus, I once called myself
187.5. That's how many miles there are tonight.
There you go. So it's right in between what we're both saying here.
Good battle there in the middle pack. I'm watching Nathan Maurer trying to work on TJ Bartel. Both of these guys, TJ got up to 8th. Maurer was up in the top 10 at one point, but they have been struggling off turn 4, Dean, and now they're kind of tiptoeing around the track a little bit. I'll tell you another guy that's kind of tiptoeing around is Greg Rowlett. That car is starting to fall off a little bit as he is starting to really fight that machine.
Well, we've seen some of this from Greg lately, and I think the new build has been something that he's had to work with. But make no mistake, the 5, a champion. I mean, he is not to be slept on. He will figure these things out.
And right now, what I've also been noticing, Dean, is the concertina effect in full force here tonight, right?
Yeah.
Top 3 strung out early, right? And now all of a sudden, you got 4 cars and they're mushed together. Started to get mushed together anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe the best of them, that 51, George Leal, sitting in 4th, starting to outrun the 3 guys in front of him.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think Leal has done a marvelous job. He did enough to get out of the pack, and he just rode. He's like, I'm not trying to catch these guys in 5 laps. I'm going to catch these guys in 25 laps. And when I do, I'm going to be way faster than all of them, and he's doing a really good job.
I mean, he truly races the track. That's what you have to do. The other thing you have to do is figure out your strategy. Jared, from what you've seen of these cars, what do you like tonight?
What's the fuel number? Do we have that?
I mean, we're going to break it into 3, right? So let's say lap 42 is your standard pit stop.
Yeah,
fuel mileage is about 55 laps or so.
Yeah, 55 would be a bad strategy for anybody in the lead pack. That's not going to work for you at all. Unless you want to do some weird cutting, I don't know. I don't think that would work. But I would like to be the first guy on pit road. I'll tell you what, it's always easier to dictate the pace than try to chase down the pace. And at this track, with the way this track is getting colder,
and we got Hartwick off in the grass here. To the 27, Zach Hartwick pulls it back on the track. We stay green. Sorry, please continue, Jared.
Yeah, Hartwick was loose earlier too, Dean. I mean, a lot of guys struggling, but yeah, I think I would want to come. We got somebody on pit road now. Is that Darren Bruce?
Darren Bruce with that early stop. So he's going to come in. He decides to do exactly that. He wants to be the first off. He wants them to chase him. Looked like he had a good entrance here. Expect Person to do something similar. I don't expect him to stay out too long, although he is outrunning Reiner at this point, but Leal has gotten around Rogers. He's in 3rd now.
Well, I think if you're Bernard Person, the second you see George Leal pass for 2nd place, that's when you dip on pit road if it's before the number that you have in your head. But I would say the window is open right now. Love the strategy by Darren Bruce. He's running mid-pack. Get down on pit road. Get out there, get away from all these guys, and get back on the track. Love that move for Darren. We got Rachel Hunt on pit road as well right now. These are good moves, in my opinion, from where they are running. If you're Bernard Person, you wait until Leal comes into 2nd, and then you peel up pit road.
We've got our pit board open now. Leaders stay out. Actually, we'll close up the pit board for right now. I mean, lap 42. It's imminent now. Here comes Bartel. Here comes Martin with a head of steam. Ooh. I mean, that's either a really good stop or an overly aggressive penalty. I'm not sure. Jason Martin, a little hot on entry. Whitford's in.
65.
Labosco comes in. There's Fleming. We've seen Fleming, I'm pretty sure his debut last week, but I could be wrong. I know he slid through his stall ever so slightly.
Yeah, I think Jason Martin might have got hit with the old penalty there, but we'll see. Maybe not. And now Leal's passed for 2nd.
TJ Rogers on pit road. Yeah, I mean, Leal making the move on Reiner there.
The Ratliff's on pit road now as well. Dibble on pit road. Dibble pitting early. Wow. This is a new season for George.
Yeah, George making some moves out here. Oh, and he missed his stall. He has to back up. Whiting's in. I mean, a lot of sliding on pit road. Guys got to be wary of that. Right now, Person with about a 1-second lead over George Leal and Bryce Reiner. Klaus Williams comes on to pit road.
I'll let you in a little secret.
Jason Spear, is he going to make it? He does. Go ahead with the secret.
The pit road, the pit stalls themselves are are concrete.
Here
Whereas the
comes our
pit road,
leader.
here he comes. Bernard Person's off pit road. We'll talk about it in a minute.
So Person comes in. Nice arc there on the outside. Not sure if it was a great pit stop or not. McMillan,
Flow.
Beller, Jackson, all on pit road. So a little cautious from Person, our leader. Leo looking to capitalize here. Let's go on board, Jared, see if we can catch him coming in.
Yeah, George coming off the corner. Got to lead a lap. Going to get those bonus points, which are crucial in the season championship.
Here is Leo.
Nope.
No, nothing doing. So Leo gonna string this thing out. What do you think about going maybe 3 or 4 more laps?
I like it on the long run because the tires, they do get to the same point at about the same time. So I think if you're able to get there and have those tires, when the tires start to level off, you're going to be a lot better and easier to pass. So I kind of like this, but there is a limit to this. And I think, even though you could go to 55, I think 48 is about as long as I'd go.
All right, there's Leo.
Here he
Leo
comes.
coming in hot. He's coming in real hot here. That is an aggressive stop from George Leal. This could be a race-winning stop. That looked really fast, Jared.
We got 3 penalties to tell you about. Edward Kane speeding, Jason Martin speeding, and Rachel Hunt speeding on pit road. Speeding on exit for Rachel Hunt. The other 2 were speeding on entry.
Buskirk comes in as well. We seen Martin come in there, and we thought it might be speeding. It was. That's tragedy for him. Reiner is still out on the track. He might be coming in. Here he comes. And that's just a standard clean entry there, and it looks like, it looks pretty quick to me. It's going to hand it over to Buckshot Ripka, your new race leader. I'm a little surprised because he faded a little bit there at the end, at least towards Leal. So he's going to look to do a few more laps and shorten those last 2 runs up. Reiner on pit road. Oh, and Reiner went through his stall a little bit.
Person well out ahead, but not super ahead of George Leal there, Dean. And Ripka's on pit road, locks him up hard.
Wow.
Locks him up hard.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be speeding. I think he's safe. That's pretty aggressive. Nate Maurer, your new race leader. It's Musial in second, a long ways behind. He's hidden on pit road. There's Rincon coming in. And then you got Hartwick out here. So those are the last, I think, Bruce, and I think Bruce might have already pitted. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Darren Bruce was the first one on pit road, Dean.
All right. So after all this is done, Bruce comes out with the lead out of that group. TJ Rogers will be in second, and then Person will be a couple of seconds, 3 seconds behind Bruce. To go on to Maurer. Maurer's got to be coming on pit road here.
Yeah, Maurer's going to have to make a move, right, at some point.
I mean, let's go on board here with Nate Maurer.
Get himself some airtime. You can't hate that.
Never hate that. Always a good idea. He's not coming in, so Maurer milking this thing out here. Very interesting. You can see the speed difference. People going around him like crazy right now. Here goes TJ Bartel around. So is Maurer trying to get to 62 or 63? I don't think so.
He'd have to really save. And he has damage, or not Maurer. Sorry, that's was not Maurer that I was talking about there. But I think that's an aggressive move.
Now we look in on TJ Rogers and Darren Bruce. Right now, battle for second, but this will be the lead when Maurer pits. Rogers easily getting around. I got to think. Bruce trying to save a little bit. Person back there, he is still quite a ways behind him. He's picked up about 7/10 on Rogers, though, so he's coming. Right in front of him, Hartwick, a little loose.
Right now, I mean, Leal is about 2 seconds behind Person, but there is a gaggle of cars in front of Bernard Person there. And TJ Rogers ahead of Darren Bruce now on those fresher tires by about 2 laps.
Yeah, I mean, Leal's got the 2-lap advantage on tires, so This is going to be huge. I think before the end of this run, you'll see Leal battling for the lead. Mauer's still hanging on, but he is losing, 2 seconds a lap at this point.
Yeah, 2.2 that last time to Rogers.
So he's got to be coming in. It looks like he is. We see the flames shooting out the side of the car. Here he comes. Pretty pedestrian looking, Jared. I don't mean that when I say it, because I don't know. Sometimes things look slow, they're fast, and sometimes they look fast, they're slow. That's going to hand it over to TJ Rogers. You see him there. There's Bruce right behind him. Person a little further back. Leo also. So they're all gapped up. We're going to see your favorite thing, the concertina effect.
Absolutely. But the other thing too, Dean, is sometimes you'll look at me and you're like, yeah, you definitely sped. Sorry, Jason Martin. I knew you sped pretty much instantly when I watched that come in. So.
Yeah, and it's a shame. Martin was our big mover. He's up like 15 spots now. Paul K. Travis up 15. He's in 17th. He's doing a great job. He's been loving Vegas. Hartwick comes in, so he relinquishes the lead. The 27 machine on pit road. That shuffles it out to TJ Rogers.
That's our 5th different leader of the night. I might have missed somebody in there that I miswrote down, but I think it's our 5th one tonight, Dean. And now everything's kind of starting to check. This race is starting to get a different feel, right? And we have one more pit stop to go. So we're just kind of feeling our way out here and trying to figure out what this car is going to do and how much to push. And it's going to be interesting to see, because Leal is 5 seconds behind Rogers. I mean, that is a big gap, but he does have 4-lap fresher tires.
Yeah, Leal has fallen 3 seconds behind Person, so Person and Bruce separating from Leal a little bit, but Leal, he's saving his stuff. He'll come later. Here goes Person now, underneath of Bruce. They come off of 4. They're clean. It looks like Bernard Person going to clear him, going into 1.
Yeah, and Bryce Reiner, you're talking about a guy that you were like, I think that looks pedestrian. It was. I mean, very slow stop, and he's cycled himself all the way back to 5th, and he was 2nd when the pit stop started. So, it has just been – pit stops are make or break for you in these type of races. This is not a one-stopper like a lot of people are used to. This is a 2-stop race, and it will change the feeling of your race if you don't get on and off pit road well. In a green flag league
in a league like this too, where we've talked a lot about it, right? Guys are aware of it. They practice it. There's almost a competition at one point. Who was the top pit stop guy? And that changed over time from driver to driver. But when you got this many guys who can do it, Jared, what does it do to you? How much pressure is on you to hit that thing perfect and possibly cause you to speed?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and I think I don't know how aggressive I would be on the first pit stop, knowing there's 2, but that second pit stop is the money stop. You got to be on and off pit road good and quick, and we always forget about the off part, right? Because that's an entire lap time we have to examine, right? And so getting off pit road is just as important, if not more important, than getting on pit road fast, right? Because you have a lot longer time before you're back on the racing surface with colder tires on top of that. It is much more important, in my opinion, to be good off of pit road than on pit road.
All right, we hop on board with Claus Williams out of Spring Hill, Florida. He is right behind Greg Ratliff here. Looks like Claus kind of feeling out this machine on the first run. Looks like he's found a little something here, Jared.
Yeah, he started in 4th, and he was running there running in the top 5 for a while. Then the car kind of went away from him, but he did start moving up in the racetrack a lot last run, Dean. I noticed he's doing that again now, and I think that he's starting to kind of figure out maybe something that's working for his driving style.
Yeah, look at him here. He looks good on the outside. He's going to try and drive right around the 5 of Lance Ripka. I think he'll get that done here coming down into 1.
But the 5 of Greg Ratliff, I believe, unless they switch cars.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Lance Ripka.
Okay, well, Ripka and Ratliff, I do get confused because they're both great drivers. They're both champions, and they both drive in a similar fashion.
I'll tell you, who's liking this battle. It looked like Williams is going to be able to clear Ratliff, and looks like he is now. He kind of sent it off in there, but Jason Jackson just sitting there, just kind of waiting. He's like, all right, I'll just be patient here. I got fresher tires than both you guys. I'll let Klaus work Ratliff over a little bit, and I'm just going to pick up the scraps here in a second.
Yeah, let's go on board with him, because what I've noticed when I look at his car, it just seems like he's out for a country drive, Jared. The car looks stable on all fronts.
Yeah, doing a really good job coming out. He's down on the pit, kind of pinched down there on the bottom, so he's not going to get a great entry into this corner, but you can see there, just barely turn the wheel in, get down to that white line. You really like to use that white line to get that car edged up on entry, and because it does, and he's going to clear Ratliff there, it looks like. Gets down here, and we'll see what he does in 1 and 2, because this is going to be the corner that's really different for a lot of guys. Gets down, he runs this middle seam, which is the line that I prefer. It gets you above those really, really harsh bumps, and you're able to keep your foot in the throttle a little bit more. And it looks like Klaus might have almost touched the wall if he didn't in front of him.
Yeah, it did, certainly did. Now, he's doing exactly what I like to do, Jared, and I guess you like it too. Drive those dots. Yep. They're there. Yeah. You don't have to think. Just use the training dots and off you go.
Yeah, use the dots. Those have been there for a long time. But yeah, I mean, you can see right there, Williams running slightly higher in 1 and 2. Jackson running right on that seam. There's a little bit of a black seam there, and he's putting those lefts right on it.
I mean, we have talked about that before, have we not, Jared? Why those dots are there?
Yeah, I mean, they're guide marks.
But they're for the schools, for the for the Richard Petty experience and such.
Yep, there's some. There used to be some at Kentucky Speedway. I don't know if the new version of Kentucky Speedway has one. But the old legacy one does.
Please forgive me, not only you, Jared, but the audience. I bring them up a lot because I was in such shock. I was only racing for 5 years before I knew that, so it took me a while to catch on. I'm fascinated by it.
Absolutely, and we talked about that in the pre-race show a little bit, using those dots to your advantage, and Jackson trying to get underneath the Klaus Williams. He's going to clear him, so Jackson up into 9th. And, you got to hand it to Paul K. Travis, Dean. We got to talk about him. 14 spots up, or 18 spots up on the night, Dean. Tried to get a top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I mean, and we've seen this from Paul. With Paul K, all you want to do is say finish the race, right? We've seen speed from him. We've seen some good moves from him, and some, being the biggest mover of the day and all that. But finishing, always the issue. And a lot of us are like that.
Absolutely. And, the other thing, too, is, he has still another pit stop to go. So you got to hit your marks. I think a top 10's on his platter tonight.
And just so you know, this we got another message from Jason Spear. I'm not sure I can say that on the air there. The bumper message there.
We got a lot of, I want to go back to the leaders. They are in a wild group of traffic of fresher tires, older tires, lap traffic. TJ Rogers was able to get through it pretty easily, but Bernard Person almost got in a wreck with Fred Lester off the corner. Fred on fresher tires slid underneath Bernie, and Bernie had to get out of the throttle. And very tight situation there is Bernard trying to get himself back to the lead.
All right, so Person clawing
Rogers loose.
And that's the other thing. I mean, he had a car on the outside of him, so that's Lester again there. And that's going to hurt him. It's going to bring Person right to his rear. And don't look now, but Leal is closing.
And Leal has caught that since the last time I looked. It's in half, from 5 seconds to 2.2 that last time by. So Leal coming quickly. Yeah,
Leal's coming. We're on lap 69, coming to lap 70 here at 125. Pit stops are about, 10, 15 laps away.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is they got lap traffic. I mean, they got Whiting is about 3 seconds ahead of these guys, and he's in a battle with Buskirk. Baron Labosco's in that group as well, along with some guys that are 1 lap down, like Lester and Edward Kane in that group. So this is always going to make this thing a little bit tighter and more edgier when you start battling for the lead when you got lap traffic. Bernard Person to the outside.
We go up front. Person trying to make a move. Nothing doing. Door was closed by Rogers. the Hardy's machine right to the rear of the 72. He looks to dive down, but Rogers closes the door.
Yeah, Bernie, you have to be patient in this situation, but he knows that Leo's closing, and he knows he needs that clean air sooner than later. He's going to get to the edge of the right rear here. Left rear, I'm sorry, and Rogers going to let him go.
Yeah, smart move by TJ there. He battled him a little bit. Now he lets him go. So next up, Leo is going to have to try and make some moves through some traffic.
Yeah, Leo's got 2 lap cars between him and Rogers. I think that's Graham Connolly is one of them, and Ricky Williams, I think, is the other.
Yeah, that is correct. Ricky Williams there next up for George Leal. Ahead, Person still dealing with traffic. He goes down to the bottom underneath the 21 machine of Edward Kane.
And Kane had that speeding penalty. He was running the top 20 before that, but unfortunately he's just kind of hoping for some cautions to come out. We do have 2 retirements. Jason Brantley has pulled his machine to the garage, and Rachel Hunt has retired as well. So that leaves with 33 cars still on the track. Dean, that's a lot of guys still racing out here.
So here's something that I remember from the loose race car days, Jared, is sometimes I would give up the lead just so I could get behind the guy and tighten my machine up a bit. It almost looks like it's helped out Rogers.
Yeah, I was about to say, Rogers with a whale of a run off of turn 2, back to Burson's bumper, and that's going to be huge because that's going to take air off the rear end of Bernard Burson's machine and make him loose.
Right, it's going to make a Person more loose, and it's going to tighten him up from the dirty air. Whew, a bad entry there. He goes down to the apron. It seems like no effect. Seems like Rogers can run wherever he wants. Leal, he's making his move underneath of Ricky Williams, trying to get through the traffic here. Going to try for a 2-for-1 with Edward Kane.
Yeah, don't look now. Bryce Reiner also back in this mix too. He's a 1.5 seconds behind Rogers, only a 0.5 second behind Leal. So Reiner's coming through the field as well.
Reiner absolutely scolding it here. He's thinking about putting it down the middle between 2 lap cars. Reiner risking it all here at Vegas.
Yeah, he is rolling a lot on the roulette table there. That's a risky move, man. I don't care who they are. It's nothing personal, but you just don't stick your nose between 2 lap cars.
Not with a car that's got a nasty rear end on it.
No, you don't.
He made it work though. Ripka back in 5th, Bruce in 6th, McMillan 7th. You got Jason Jackson in 8th, Claus Williams, and Eric Beller in your top 10. TJ Bartell comes on to pit road here on lap 76. Jared, do you like this move?
Yeah, I mean, he's starting to fall back a little bit, Dean. He wasn't being able to make any progress. Come on pit road, get that clean air. He saw what Darren Bruce did from a similar position, and TJ Rogers super loose off turn 4, Dean. Holy cow.
So Rogers under heat from Leal now. He's falling back a little bit.
Oh.
Person's lead down to 7/10.
And but Bartell actually retired, Dean, so that car heading to the garage.
Wow. A very surprising move there. Mr. Bartell not liking the machine here tonight, or perhaps it was broken down, not sure. Reiner and Leal and Rogers, a battle for second developing. Let's go on board with Bryce Reiner.
Yeah, this is the concertina effect, Dean. They're going in there, and Reiner moving up into that middle groove right now, but boy, oh boy, Bernard Person got through that lap traffic quickly, and now he has opened up a gap.
Well, sometimes that's the biggest key out here is who can handle the traffic the best. Right now, Person's done everything right. It's going to come down to these last pit stops in this last run. Lap 79 of 125, Bernard Person out front. We're getting down to it. Who's going to be first on pit road?
Labasco gets out of the way of these guys here, lets them go. So that leaves us with 20 cars on the lead lap, Dean.
Just to touch on Barron, I mean, not quite his night, but this is a lot to jump into this car in this race. And virtually haven't been driving for a couple of years, but he's doing good out here. He's hanging on. Currently in 22nd position.
Leal underneath TJ Rogers off of turn 4.
Yeah, Leal making his move now. Rogers should probably just let him go. I think he will. Leal is clear. And Rogers runs back up on him a little bit. Here comes Reiner. Reiner nowhere to go. He checks up a little bit.
And remember, Reiner has the freshest tires of the entire top 5. He pitted on 47. Rogers on 42. Leal on 46. Bernard Persson on 44.
All right. So Reiner has the tire advantage. We criticized, or I criticized, that maybe it was a little too long. He was staying out. Looks to be paying off late. Now he makes his move on the high side. Around Rogers he goes. Reiner up to third. McMillan hits pit road.
The Mike trying to get the undercut done early.
Go on board with our race leader. Persson, I think he might be coming in. No.
Paul K went on pit road as well from 15th.
So Paul K. Travis having himself a night. He hits pit road.
Michael Fleming on pit road from 29th. We got Baron Labasco on pit road. Graham Connolly on pit road.
Persson goes around Buskirk here. So these guys thinking about a pit stop. Person's lead 1 second right now over George Leal, Bryce Reiner, TJ Rogers, and Lance Ripka.
Yeah, continue to battle. In person, there's not, I was counting it out, about 8 or 9 seconds is his next car ahead of him. Well, now Paul K is going to come out pit road, but I think Paul K is going to be get well out ahead, actually. So about 6 to 7 seconds. So Bernard Persson got a lot of clean air. I would utilize that clean air personally. I wouldn't worry about these guys coming on pit road. I would try to open up this gap just a little bit, and when Leal got within about half a second, that's when I'd hit down pit road.
Yeah, any minute now. We're down to 41 laps remaining. So these guys effectively going a little bit long here on this run. Greg Ratliff comes on pit road. Behind him, Nate Mauer's in. James A. Bear's in.
I like going long here, especially if the car is loose. I would go long and take a little bit less fuel there at the end of the race and kind of tighten that thing up.
Persson,
you see, everybody's coming in.
Late entrance.
Oh, Rogers.
And someone back there struggling a little bit. Leal and Persson with dynamic pit entrances. Did they speed? I don't know. Behind him, Claus Williams comes in sideways. He's okay.
Yeah, I think TJ Rogers was trying to make a late decision to come down pit road, and he almost wrecked the thing on pit road, Dean, but he did a good job.
So Reiner, now his decision whether he's going to cover him off or do the same thing he did earlier. No, he comes in, aggressive entrance. Everybody being aggressive. The 13, that's Eric Whiting, I believe, coming in as well.
TJ Rogers is going to stick this thing out a little bit. He's going to take over the lead again.
Yeah, Rogers back out front. Ripka's now in second, and Eric Beller assumes third position. Bring up the pit board there. You can see the last lap everybody's pitted on.
Leal and Persson off of pit road together. No gap between them, Dean. So this could be big for the race. Ripka in.
All right, Ripka hits pit road. I see smoke, but everything looks good.
Ratliff, not a great pit stop, 43.1. Some troubles for the 5 machine.
So there's Reiner coming off. Persson and Leal go right around him. Wow, have we got a battle now? Bernard Persson trying to hold off Leal. Looks like Leal's said, hey, no more saving. I'm going to try and hang with you here.
More guys on pit road. Gilly on pit road. Brian Helm on pit road. Let's see, anybody else on pit road? Ripka, obviously, on pit road. We already talked about him.
All right, so it's Rogers, Beller, Spear, and Whitford who are still out on the track, and a couple of lap cars like Buskirk, Williams, and then Persson back in 7th position. He's starting to open up a little gap on Leal here. This is 2 different drivers. One will just, he'll drive the car for all he's worth. The other one looking for a little later in the run to make his move. How do you handle it, Jared, if you're George Leal?
You got to be patient. You got to be patient and not overdrive your stuff. You got to drive within your limits and hope that you're able to catch them up, because if you drive over your limits, you're not going to be able to make the move, and if you do make the move, you might not be able to keep it.
All right, so there's Person, there's Leal, there is Reiner. Both Leal and Reiner in better shape than they were last run. The leader, Rogers, he has got to come in here soon, though. There's still about 4 or 5 guys that need to pit. Person comes up on Buskirk. He's going to go right around him pretty easily with that fresh rubber. He'll be looking to get by Rogers as well. Rogers gives him room on the high side. Here comes Spear down pit road.
Yeah, Rogers a little bit nicer than I would have. I would have closed that door off and made Person work a little bit harder for that, but Rogers coming in. He's coming in hard.
He's coming in too hard. Wow, he drifts it, he saves it, and he gets on pit road. TJ Rogers putting on a display.
And my goodness, if that's a good pit time, that's gonna be fun to see. But my guess is it's not gonna be good. But
well, I don't think he lost a lot, Jared. I mean, he just got a little sideways there. He controlled it quite well.
Beer on pit road as well.
Did you say there's beer on pit road? What?
Jason Spear on pit road.
Jason Spear, yeah. I don't know why I heard beer. Is that a Freudian thing?
Must be on the mind.
Well, I seen beer in the Bosco out here, and booze is on the mind. So Eric Beller, your race leader right now. How about that? The 4 gets a little bit of air time here.
Yeah, he's been a solid top 10 driver all night long, Dean. So good to see him up front getting some bonus points here.
And you know what this reminds me of, Jared? You got the University of Kentucky car. We used to have an Oregon Ducks car. You know who came out of Oregon?
Bo Nix.
That's right, Jared. How's he looking now, eh? For all the naysayers out there for my little predictions, he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, Bo Nix has surprised me. There's no doubt about it.
All right, I like it. And there's a few others. Williams starting to look good, as is the man over in Washington. He's looking pretty good. Nonetheless,
yeah,
Whitford
Daniels,
hits pit road. Beller still leads this thing. Person 17 seconds behind. He has 3/4 of a second on George Leal, who has 3/4 of a second on Bryce Reiner. You got to go like 4 seconds back to find Darren Bruce in 5th right now. Would be 4th when Beller pits.
Yeah, I think he's hoping for a caution. I think he's out here. He's running this thing as long as he can to try to see if there's a caution that'll come out in his favor. But I think he's hitting pit road.
Well, I mean, you pretty much have to, don't you, Jared? I mean, run that thing dry. What do you got to lose?
Yeah, Jason Martin on pit road. Another guy that was kind of hoping for caution because he got that speeding penalty last time.
Yeah, Martin. I mean, he's showing speed. It's another guy, Jared. It's just a matter of time before we see him, up here in the top 3 at the end of the race.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He has been close to the top 3, if not in the top 3 last year. So Beller 15 seconds ahead of Bernard Person. But Dean, I wanted to circle back to the pit road. You were talking about a lot of guys sliding through the box. Those pit stalls themselves are concrete. So those things, that they are gripped different. A lot of people don't realize this, but those things are gripped different. And when you go in there for the first time, there's no heat on those things. And if you're ever on concrete and it's cold with tires, you'll just slide. It's like going to Dover at 60 degrees. You'll just slide.
I mean, that Indianapolis, I believe, it bit me many times sliding through my stall before I learned my lesson.
That's a concrete one as well. There's a few concrete ones out there, but Martinsville's concrete. But a lot of people don't realize that, and they'll slide through the box because they want to hit it aggressively. But that first pit stop, because there's no rubber laid down, it's very difficult.
See here, there's Claus Williams, Jason Jackson. They're in the top 10. How about Jacob Musial here this evening? He's currently in 11th. I'm not sure if he's pitted yet, but the 38.
Has not.
He has not, but he's up here, up 14 spots right now, just outside of the top 10. Looking good. There's Ratliff and Maurer. You got Paul K trying to bounce back up. What happened with Paul K? Something on pit road, Jared?
I don't think so.
I can't remember, but I think I remember something about Paul K. But nonetheless, here he is, up 19 spots on the night as Musial comes on to pit road. James A. Bear in 14th. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I think that Musial was just trying to wait it out, see if he could get a caution too, as is Eric Beller. But I don't think that caution is going to come at all.
And does that surprise you, Jared? I mean, we got loose race cars out here. A lot of guys think they cause cautions.
No, I think loose race cars actually don't cause cautions. I think tight race cars give you a false sense of security. And,
I'm with you there, brother.
Whereas loose race cars, you're just sitting there like Atlanta, like old Atlanta. You're sitting there you're just like, I'm just trying to drive my car. I'm not trying to wreck you. I'm just trying to hold on to my stuff right now, bud.
Oh, man, that used to be just deadly riding around old Atlanta. Track's 135 degrees. Not a fun time. Well, I thought it was fun, but it was intense, Jared.
It was intense, and actually cold Atlanta is not any better because you can't get any heat in the tires, so you don't have any grip either. So it's bad all the way around.
All right, so Person now, and are you surprised by this, Jared? He has continued to open up his lead, now about 9/10, a little more. I mean, what are you thinking about what Bernard Person's doing here, and with 26 to go?
Well, I think he pulled everybody on pit road, right? He made everybody play the strategy that he wanted them to play. Whereas, before Leal had stayed out long, Reiner had stayed out long, Rogers had came in early. Bernard Person dictated the proceedings on the second pit stop, and Leal just does not have the long run pace to stay with Person in the same manner. He needed that tire advantage, in my opinion. Now he could be backing off to try to maybe get some tire back in the car a little bit, try to get some heat out of those things, but he's losing time, and he's going to be under pressure from Reiner here soon if that is not the case, and that's not what I don't think that's working out the way that Leal wanted it to.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I don't know. I know Bernard Person, when he's got a car he likes, he's very, very dangerous. And right now, he's running down Beller, who still has not stopped. Now, the lead down to about 5 seconds. So, Person closing in quick here on getting him the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, but the lap time is not that much different. I mean, it's 8/10, and when you're talking about Beller last pitted on lap 50, I mean, that's not that much of a fall-off at all here, Dean.
No, that's crazy. I find that hard to believe. I find myself looking at the board to confirm that, Jared. That's quite amazing to me.
Yeah, 33 flat just there. That's his first 33. He last pitted, I could be off a couple laps, but it was definitely in the 40s or maybe 50. I might have been not giving him enough credit.
Let's look on the pit board.
He pitted on 45.
44 even. He was listed as 44 for Eric Beller.
So, I mean, you're talking about hardly any fall off, Dean. I mean, you're talking, he started out doing 32.1s. And he did a 31.7 at one point in his run. He's on pit road, though. He's giving up the ghost. Can't get a caution.
I mean, good on him for trying. I mean, you got to try these things. You got nothing to lose. You're going to finish, say, whatever, 10th, 15th, 20th. A lot of guys, that doesn't matter. I want to win, and the only way to win was to stay out and gamble. He gambled, and the casino usually wins, Jared.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you a guy that's doing a good job. George Dibble started dead last on the field, and he has made himself up on merit. Like, we haven't had any cautions here tonight. To 19th. I mean, what a job by George. He needs to qualify, George. Got to get some lap times in the queue.
You think we get a hold of him and force him to qualify, Jared?
I think somebody does, because I think he's got an ability, right? I think he's got an ability. If he's able to get by these guys on merit in the race and get up 16 positions, I mean, if he qualified 19th, I'm not saying he's going to finish third, but he could be battling for a top 10 finish here tonight.
I mean, every time I see this car in this picture, when I put up the driver details, I just think George Costanza in the batting cages. I mean, he looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So there is George Dibble. He's doing a heck of a job. A little further up, you got Brian Helm. He's in the 46 machine, helm up 14 spots on the night, and right in front of him, or a ways in front of him, Paul K. Travis, our big mover. He's up 19 spots, Jared, now in 13th.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about Brian Helm. He came back in toward the end of last year. Pretty much was involved in wrecks in almost every race that he was in, unfortunately. But solid run for Brian. I mean, he's a Northwest late model crew chief. I mean, Northwest in the United States. Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, running up in those areas. He has a lot of experience running these cars. He's done really good, and having himself a nice night here tonight, Dean.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, I'm sure he wanted more, but it's been solid. And when you start in 28th position, 14th is pretty darn good. Back up front, Person's lead coming down, 18 to go, lead down to 0.6 seconds. George Leal and Bryce Reiner, bumper to bumper, chasing them down.
Yeah, there's gonna be some lap traffic on newer tires. I can't talk. Coming through here. That's Derek Whitford. So Dibble's also trying to stay on the lead lap. I don't think he's going to roll over too easily. And right in front of him, that neon orange car. I don't know who that is. Is that James Hebert? No, it's not Hebert.
It could be Fleming. It is Fleming.
Yep.
Michael Fleming, newcomer here, going up high here, trying to stay out of the way.
And he's 2 laps down, so I think he'll pull over probably. But Dibble's trying to stay on the lead lap. I mean, finishing on the lead lap is a big deal in my opinion to be able to do that. So I don't think he's going to roll over, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tricky, right? The guy, George Dibble, for instance, he doesn't know your situation. He doesn't know Leal's, X amount of time and when he pitted and what tires he had. He didn't know all that. All he knows is that he wants to stay on the lead lap.
Absolutely, and you see Fleming got out of the way, and now you got Jason Martin on fresher tires coming through, Whitford on fresher tires trying to get his lap back, and that's a battle for position for Whitford, right? Whitford is battling with George Dibble.
We got the 42 going at it here. That is... Wasn't that Whitford, the 42?
Yeah, he's trying to chase down Dibble for position.
Well, he's chasing Dibble, but he's hampering the leader, and that's the problem. Not only do you have slow cars you got to pass, you got fast cars coming through. Here comes Jason Martin coming through. I mean, it is tricky out there.
Beller's coming through, too, at the head of steam, and all these guys are fighting for position. That's the thing. Everybody on our screen is fighting for position.
This is so brutal. I mean, it's brutal for everybody. Leal, though, cruising on up here, and he's bringing Reiner with him. They are right behind a race leader. We told you this would come down to the end. It's gonna.
13 laps to go, and it's everything, and Beller's trying to get unlapped himself. Martin gets one left, his laps back, and Reiner looking underneath Leal for second while all that's going on.
Yeah, these two are going to go to fighting. This could hurt them, but they know Person's struggling through all this traffic. Side by side, Reiner and Leal, they come off of 4. Right in front of them, the race leader.
Person got loose too, Dean, and that's definitely brought them all up. I mean, we're going to I think this is going to set up for a 2001 Atlanta race where you had 3 or 4 guys just battling and ripping and just came down to an inch.
And Leal looking for the crossover, so the battle for second rages on. This is only helping Person.
3 wide in front of the leaders, too. Beller went underneath Whitford, who was underneath Dibble, and Beller clears all of them, so that could have been hairy for the race leaders there for a second.
It is getting absolutely crazy as we're on 12 to go in the Las Vegas 185 here in the Alive Church Xfinity Series. And you could say these top 3, they're fully alive, Jared.
I think hopefully they are, because you want to be awake for this. What a battle. Reiner around Leal, but Leal fights back, and now you're back to George Dibble, who has been passed by 3 different cars now, and he's still the last car on the lead lap.
So Reiner has finally cleared George Leal. Watch out. The race is on as we come down to 10 to go here.
Dibble concedes it easily. I didn't know if he would or not, but he concedes it and gets out of the way for the top 2, and he's going to get out of the way for Leal as well, as much as he can.
Well, that's the thing with the concessions are often the leader is harassed the most for the reasons you said. Guys want to stay on the lead lap. Once they're passed by the leader, they're a little more courteous.
Absolutely. So that's going to leave us with 19 guys on the lead lap. Whitford on those fresher tires, he already got his lap back, so I don't think he's going to be a problem. But Tony Ratliff is on older tires, and he is sliding back. So there could still be some more lap traffic to come as Gilly is in that mix as well. He could come back to him as well.
Crazy, crazy race. Person leading wire to wire, basically, except for pit stop guys he got up there. And now he's got Reiner. Oh, and he's loose off of 4. And that's going to bring Reiner even closer. Reiner down to the inside, looking to make a move. He can't hold it down there.
Person runs the middle, trying to force Reiner up the track a little bit, Dean. Take away the line that Reiner wants to run. Put air on that nose for Reiner. Reiner's going to have to do something here into 3.
And Leal right here. We're riding on board with Leal, watching it all happen. There goes Reiner down to the bottom. Can't really hold it or get the power down. Person a little loose on the top. What a race!
And remember, last time we were here, Bryce Reiner had an opportunity to dive it underneath Lance Ripka with about 5 to go going into turn 3, and he didn't do it. He let off the gas and tried to go to the outside of him. He looks like he's learned his lesson this time around, Dean.
He may have, but is it the right thing? Reiner down on the bottom. He has the advantage, but Person trying to hold on, almost contact on entry. Reiner clears him. Person goes down low looking for a crossover. Nothing doing. Bryce Reiner, new race leader with 7 laps to go.
Reiner looking for his first win in RGR. Can he get it done tonight as we're down to those laps remaining? And Leo now looking on the inside of Person. And TJ Rogers only a second and a half back. I don't think he's going to get there, but he's lurking.
TJ Rogers is lurking. Leo desperate to get by Person now. Person not going to give it up. He closes back in on Reiner a little bit. Wow, what racing here in Vegas.
Apologies, this would be Reiner's second win, not his first win, if he's able to get it done. Whitford re-caught by the race leaders, so I'm kind of surprised by that. But Whitford now getting out of China out of the way. That's strange. I don't know if maybe he hit the wall or something, but weird that he battled the leaders and then now has fallen back.
Yeah, I mean, you just get in positions. You don't really always know what's going on inside the car. That time, Leo, with that error, I think, pushed up on his spoiler, helped him get a little loose off of 4. Person gets a gap in front of him. Reiner now leading by about 4/10. And we're coming down to 4 to go.
Yeah, I don't see a way for Bernard Person to get back in this race. He had that opportunity. The lap traffic kind of made it really difficult for him, and it has not worked for him. It has just not been it's been his night, and he's going to end up not being able to get back to him. And I think he had an opportunity. If he had gotten through that lap traffic a little bit cleaner, I think that he would have walked away with this win. But I just think you're going to have to go back to that lap traffic for Bernard Person.
Well, of course. I mean, he battled lap traffic for this entire run, Jared.
Yeah, he did.
And that is the key. Sometimes it's just luck. I mean, if you're going to Vegas, you want to be good or you want to be lucky?
That's true. And the other thing is Bryce Reiner does have that 1-lap tire advantage, which is a big advantage. If you're able to hold on to that advantage, if you don't run it off, that 1 lap will make a big difference as the laps roll down. So there is that.
Reiner doing a great job here tonight, and he has placed himself in position to win it. On the backstretch with 3 to go, coming down to 2 to go for Bryce Reiner.
There is some lap traffic ahead. Ratliff, Martin, Musial, all there. They could be caught before this race is over. And I think that's going to be about the only people that could play a factor at the end of this race. But they are putting air. They are within the range to put air on Reiner. So that is going to hurt his overall handling now in that range.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're coming down to it now. So I don't know if it's going to be enough. Leal and Person continue to battle. Rogers trying to sneak into it a little too late. There's Ripka in 5th. Bruce back here in 6th. Jackson, McMillan, Williams, and Greg Ratliff, your top 10. Back up front, Bryce Reiner walking away. Battle for second, though. It looked like Leo rubbed the rear end of Bernard Person. He goes way up high. Bernie trying to close the door, but there's room. Wow, Leo wheeling that thing on the high side. Bryce Reiner.
Last lap too, Dean.
Yeah, last corner. Bryce Reiner coming around. He is going to win the Las Vegas 185. Leo and Person, and Person's going through the grass. Wow, what a ride for Person, and he still gets 3rd. Comes back up the track and smashes the wall. Oh no! And he gets Ripka after the race. The Hardee's machine heavily damaged.
As a Davey Allison situation there. He left it all on the line, Dean. He had to. I don't know how he beat TJ Rogers to the line.
That is insane. That was a fun little ride. I mean, not for him, but for us up here in the booth. But it's all about Bryce Reiner here. Unbelievable what he's able to do. He was calm. He waited for his moment, and then he seized it, Jared.
Yeah, and we talked about the last time we were here, Dean, he had an opportunity to undercut Lance Ripka. He had 1 lap fresher tires then too, and he decided he wasn't going to try to dive off into turn 3 and pass him on the bottom. He went to the outside, and Ripka was able to hold him off there at the end of that race. And I think this time Reiner was like, I'm not going to be denied. I'm taking this win. And what a job for him to get a second career win here at RGR.
Yeah, great job. We watch him burning out. The grass looks nice here tonight as he piles it up a little bit. And he's just having fun with this one, Jared.
And you have to feel bad for Bernard Person. I don't know how many laps. I don't have it all written down, but I think I want to say he probably led about 90 of the 125 at a minimum. Maybe that's more than that.
I think it's a good guess. Yeah, he led a ton for sure, and we do feel bad, but hey, one man's problems are another man's victory here, the 14, Bryce Reiner. What a job. Right now, let's take a short commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get some race interviews in. Back here, looking down from the blimp at the beautiful Las Vegas Motor Speedway, all lit up. What a beautiful sight. Bryce Reiner, your victor here tonight. Jared, I mean, great race, man. It always is. It never disappoints, does it?
Yeah, I mean, we had like a lot of stanzas in this race, right? We don't have stages, and you don't need stages, and this proves it, right? We had a lot of different things going on in this race. We had the opening stanza where Bernard Person, TJ Rogers, Reiner, and Leo kind of separated themselves out in that first group of drivers, right? They separated themselves out, and they were way ahead of everybody else. Leo looked like he had saved a lot of stuff, was able to kind of start edging his way to the front before pit stops began. Then you had Darren Bruce kind of come out of nowhere, make a decision to undercut those guys, get himself in the mix for a little bit. In that second stanza, things were a little bit less fluid in that one. We had TJ Rogers dominate that stanza, and then Bernard Person took the lead late. Pit stops happen again. The third stanza, everybody comes on pit road all at once. Rogers stays out long trying to get that tire advantage, but he stayed out too long that time, and Bernard Person dominated that last stanza, but they didn't end up winning the race. Dean Reiner steals at the end.
Yeah, amazing patience by him to keep his strategy in check and just run his race. It paid off in the end. You look in on the top 10 there. We've kind of talked a lot about the top 10. 11th, Beller, who led a lot before he pitted. He come back for 11th. That was great. Maurer, Abear, Spear, Helm, Gilly, Tony Ratliff, Paul Kay back in 18th, hanging on, but what our biggest mover, I do believe, on the night. And then you've got Derek Whitford back here in 19th. 20th is Dibble, Whiting, Rincon, Buskirk, Labosco, Hartwick, Williams, Connolly, Musial, Merton, and others. I mean, wow. Great race to go green here. Hard handling car. These guys worked their butts off, and to put on a show like that at the end, Jared, awesome stuff.
Yeah, only 3 guys, or three people. We had Rachel Hunt, TJ Bartel, and Jason Brantley did not finish the race tonight. 32 guys. stayed in this race tonight, Dean, and finished this thing out, even if they had speeding penalties or issues on pit road. We didn't have anybody hit the wall or wreck. We had Musial getting the wall early, just barely getting the wall, but didn't bring out a caution. I mean, that is amazing racing, great driving, and it really allowed the cream of the crop to rise in this league. I think that's a great indictment for this league at this race.
Absolutely is. Right now, we turn to the number 8, Bernard Person, who was running so well tonight up front all night. Maybe a little heartbroken here with 3rd place, but congratulations, Bernie, on one heck of a race, man.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. Old man got tired.
Old man got tired, but got woke up there on the last lap with a little bit of grass getting thrown at you. What you think about that, Bernie?
Once he got on the high side and started getting around me, it just felt like that rear end just pulled me around. I got loose.
Now, yeah, I mean, obviously that has an effect. Talk a little bit about that effect here tonight. I mean, the last run in general, I don't think you were alone. You had lap traffic in front of you, coming from behind on fresh tires. I mean, you couldn't catch a break, could you?
No, and that was the important part of it, is how fast you can get around those lap cars. But just seemed like I burnt my right rear out early in the run.
Well, you started on the pole as well, I do believe, Bernie. You're up here running. Tell us a little bit about the loose race car here, the track combo. I mean, you had to feel comfortable. You nabbed the pole and you ran up front most of the night.
Oh, the car was great. Track was great. You know, the important part was getting around those lap cars as quick as possible.
Yeah, it really was. And of course, it was, you were in a ton of traffic, but we go forward now. Now we look at the Monster Mile down in Dover. How you feeling about that one?
Dover's all right. I mean, I'm not crazy about it, but it's all right.
I almost feel like I'm talking about an ex-girlfriend here. I'm not crazy about her, but she's all right. Nonetheless, Bernie, hey, big congrats. A lot of fun watching you there, and managed to grab 3rd even though you're going through the grass. That was a lot of fun too, brother. So congrats, and we'll turn the mic over to you. Anybody you want to shout out?
Well, obviously you guys are always putting on a good show. It's going to be great going back and watching it. You always learn a lot from you guys watching the broadcast. You guys are the best. Just all my teammates.
All right, Jarrett, that's the number 8, Bernard Person, with a 3rd place finish here this evening.
Yeah, and I'm sitting down here with George Leal. He's a little bit sweaty. I mean, what a race for George. Congrats on 2nd place here tonight, man.
Thank you. It was a good race.
Let's talk about it, man. I mean, so you start off, you qualified 5th, and you ran 4th for the most part of that opening stanza before the first pit stop, right? But it looked like you had a little bit in the bank, and you're able to chase these guys down with about 10 or so laps to go before you pitted there. Did you have that in your mind that you're like, I don't care how far these guys get out, I'm running my pace, and I know what I've got in the bank?
Yeah, I definitely was trying to pace myself, and I knew I was going to be good on the long run, but I couldn't believe that Bernie didn't fall off there at the end. He did a really good job of keeping his pace, but I just kind of pushed it a little bit more and more each run, and just tried to figure out how much I needed to push it to stay within striking distance.
Yeah, you did a really good job there, and it seemed like the car was just really coming through. But let's talk about how that setup was. We saw a lot of guys struggling with off of turn 4. How treacherous was that turn 4 in that car as the run went on?
Oh yeah, it was slippery. You had to really be patient. You almost had to wait for the car to wiggle a little bit, then you could get in the gas. So it was I like it. I like racing these kind of setups, and I don't like being able to mash the gas, and I like having to finesse it a little bit.
Well, it's definitely a finesse race, and you had the opportunity there at the end. You and Bernie came out at the same time on that last pit stop, and it seemed like Bernie got out to a little bit of a lead on you, and then you were able to chase him back down, but Bryce Reiner was there. Did you have any idea that Bryce had those fresher tires, and did you think that you were going to be able to sneak in there and get that win, let alone 2nd place tonight?
Yeah, I was hoping to get the win. we stayed out. I think it was on the first stop. We stayed out a couple laps longer, and we caught Bernie, but I think we were still like a second behind him. So I was like, well, the only chance I have of beating him is just try to stay on the same strategy with him, and it worked pretty well. But Bryce did it just a little bit better. I thought I was gonna level out with him there at the end, like we did on the previous run, but he did a really, really good job of getting the win there.
Well, it was a great run for you, George. And as always, I mean, you're showing your stuff out here. But I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word on your race here tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it. Just want to say thank you to Alive Church and East Coast Web Printing for sponsoring these Xfinity and Gen 6 series. Couldn't do this without them. Thank you, the league, for putting this on. We got 35 cars out here tonight, and so really proud to finish in the top 3 here. And then just want to give a shout out to my terrible Dallas Cowboys, but just want to let the Redskins fans know who we're still their daddy.
There you go, Dean. A little football talk for George Leal there.
I love it. You know I love it. Getting the football rubs in there. But there's another guy who loves this night. Man, did you get it late? The 14. Bryce Reiner, winner here at Vegas. Congratulations, Bryce.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Jared.
Amazing stuff, Bryce. I mean, you played this one to a T. Let's go back a bit. Let's talk about your 2 pit stops, in particular the last one. You know, you're coming in a little bit later than, say, Person or whoever. Obviously, that's part of the plan. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, that second pit stop was the plan to pit with them or the lap right after. They called it out going into 3 or middle of 3, and I was a little bit back, and I wasn't gonna call it out that soon. So I managed to go one more lap, and surprisingly, I didn't lose as much time as I thought I did. I assume I had a much better entrance than the pit stop before that, and I really drove it to the cone, and then didn't miss my pit stall this time, so that was good. I slid it the first time, so that kind of screwed me up, but just tried to stay in tow with them and not let them get too far, and then the end is history.
Yeah, man, what an ending it was there. Tell us a little bit about the battle with George Leal there. You're watching Person in front of you guys. You get side by side. You don't want to be, but you have to be. And in front of all he is and around all he is, coming from behind you, in front of you, is lap traffic everywhere. Tell us a little bit what was going on. What was going on in your mind?
Yeah, lap traffic was crucial. I was just telling George and Bernie that lap traffic was crucial in those kind of moments, especially when you're probably a second apart from each other and you're trying to get runs, or you're trying to decide which lane to run or which lane the lapped cars are going to run, and you want clean air to that front of the car. So, it's a hit or miss, really. I got lucky with, I think, Derek Whitford getting around me and then getting to George, and then I had a good run on George. But I can't take away their credit either. They ran an awesome race. George, Bernie, they're really good at saving tires, especially, and luckily enough I was able to get by George, and I was able to run down Bernie. Yeah. And while I was sitting behind both of them, I could see Bernie and I could see George a little bit not loose, but like a little bit off, so that I think I was working that high lane and it was working for me.
Well, speaking of getting loose, I mean, obviously the car is loose, but how much of a role did the air, provide on that? I mean, if you ran up on someone, could you effectively get them loose, let's say?
Yeah. If you run up on them, say the right rear, you could probably pull the air off from that bottom car, and they'll either get super loose or they just won't get to throttle enough, and then the high lane will just take advantage of that. So that's why I was worried about going to the bottom to pass both of them. But luckily, I was able to get a little bit out in front, middle corner of both of them. But yeah, it's if you get behind a car even as well, and you're going to the bottom and they come late, your car will just push out to the outside. And I was fighting that a little bit. But if I got clean air and the top was working for me, then I could run it pretty well and catch those guys.
Well, Bryce, we see you running around the front all the time. This now your second win. You cracked it here. This could open up the floodgates, but you kind of needed it too, right? Wasn't a greatest start last week for you for the season. So now you move up 10 spots. You're back in this thing. We head to Dover. What do you think of that?
I don't know with the 100% fuel and how loose this car was tonight. There's gonna be some practicing for sure. But I like Dover. It's a technique track. You don't wanna smack that wall coming out of 2 or 4. So you got to stay in your game and make sure you make the right moves. But this was redemption from last year at Vegas where Ripka won and I was sitting right beside or right behind him, and I just couldn't pull off. So thankfully, I pulled it off tonight against the 2 top guys as well, and redemption from last week as well. Last week wasn't that great either.
I love it. Down in Vegas, getting redemption doesn't happen often. I tell you, most times you get crushed for the second time when you go to Vegas. But you gambled today. Well, you didn't really gamble, but you won nonetheless, Bryce. Big congrats on this victory. And we'll turn the mic over to you, brother. Anybody you want to shout out or anything?
Yeah, thank you guys up in the booth. You guys do a tremendous job, and I can't wait to watch this one back. Shout out to all the admins that make this league go around. Tremendous job each and every week. Definitely shout out to Bernie and George and TJ as well because we all battled throughout the whole race. Shout out to all the sponsors of Live Church, East Coast Web Printing for the Gen 6 and Xfinity for this winter season. Thanks to Team Conti, Digital Sim Sports, and Martin PC. And we will see you guys next week at Dover.
You bet you will, Jared. That is race winner, Bryce Ryder. Man, it was a great race, wasn't it, for him?
Oh, what a job! What a job by Bryce. I mean, and you said it, Dean. I mean, he cracked it a little bit. Now he's put that another win in the bank. So I mean, I think it's going to be huge for him moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time, right, Jared? I mean, once you get that one, right, all of a sudden they start flowing. I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule, but we see it a lot, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes this league so interesting is seeing how these races play out and seeing all the comers and goers. But man, Bernie had this thing, he was dominating this thing, but you can't take that kind of stuff for granted, right? And Bryce Ryder was just lurking the entire race and he got there at the end.
Yeah, thrilling stuff. Of course, we move to Dover now, and I'm telling you, it's gonna continue, folks. This is gonna continue to go on. It's just amazing how these races always come down to it. But for myself, Dean Doucette, for Mr. Jared Carr, that's gonna wrap it up from Vegas. I'm broke. I gotta go. So we'll see you next time.